YouTube, good morning. Good morning. Let's get the don't, if you come to this channel, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe button and the bell notification. I've heard, mind you, I'll give you an example of what I heard. I was in Chicago taking an Uber home, and the gentleman that was the driver was a black fella, around 62 years old, and he, number one, did not like to drive to the south side. And he said that he does not like black customers. They are the worst customers. Now, he mentioned a couple other races or ethnic backgrounds of people. He said Asians treat him very well. Whites and Asians treat him very well. But as far as his own people, they are the worst. He did mention Indians don't tip, etc., etc. And I had my own personal experience with our own people yesterday. Have had a customer who is a DJ, and when he had his pool built, this guy hounded me for about a period of 3 months on pricing, of how he can get stuff for cheaper, blah, 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 blah. And, I gave him where to go. Finally, he books my pool service, and his pricing at the height of the summer, I already let him know the program. I said, hey, this pool should be this much. I'm gonna start you at a base price, but with Kim's, you're looking at this price. Because now I itemize everything. You have to make sure that you're turning a profit. And then I also told him, in the winter season, I will service your pool every other week. Bi-weekly. We have the holidays, we have the shortened hours, so many reasons for me to tailor the schedule like this in the wintertime. And mind you, the wintertime is from, the off season is from anywhere from November 1st to April 1st. This is what it's going to be in the off season. Nobody swimming. You will see a price reduction. And an example of his price reduction was his last bill in November was around $165. His bill in December was $151, and it was dropping. Now, mind you, he does not have a small pool. Size does not matter. You can have a small pool, and it could be experiencing a lot of things. Sometimes smaller is actually worse because everything's compounded. So does not have a small pool, and because of the type of customer that him and his wife were, very tedious, they nitpicked at something that was out of my control, that was actually a flaw in the pool. Thought it was dirt. It was actually a flaw in the build. This, that, can you climb on the back of the wall? We didn't see you, blah, 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 blah. So you can best bet your bottom dollar that I did everything to a T, because what I don't like is I don't like people calling me back saying, hey, you didn't do this. Hey, you didn't do that. Hey, you didn't do this. So I did everything, and I do that for a mass majority of my customers. And granted, you're going to have your different type of clientele. Some people say, hey, man, I'm just glad you show up. I've had pools in Vegas, and it's hard to find somebody reliable or that communicates like you do. So When they canceled service yesterday, I was already, it wasn't a surprise. It wasn't a surprise because I told my wife, I said, I'd be very surprised if they hold on to me through the winter, seeing that the type of customers they were. I told her this in October. So it was no surprise when he called. Well, he didn't call, but he just sent me a text yesterday and said, hey, your service no longer be needed. Thank you. And I said thank you back, and then I said, you know what? Can you please let me know what was the reason for cancellation in case I need to change the program, or in case I need to make some changes for my existing clientele. Any feedback is appreciated. His feedback was that they found a cheaper service. That was what he led with. We found a cheaper service. Mind you, his bill for December was $150. The going rate for pool service for his pool was about $165, $175. Some guys will tell him $185. We found a cheaper service as somebody that will come every single week. And I said, okay, thank you, because this is not the first time that I have been canceled for, well, you're too high. Now, mind you, the going rate, if you look it up online and you call the top 5 companies in Las Vegas, they're anywhere between $185 to $190. And they come out every single week. He could have told me, hey, it's because you don't come out every single week. He could have told me that, and I'd have been like, okay, well, cool. I'm not for everybody. I'm not for everybody. And sometimes, as I explained to him after I thought about it, I said, well, that could have been a conversation, because I do have a customer. She said, hey, can you please come every week because of A, B, C, and D? I will pay you more money. White customer. I will pay you more money to come out every single week if I got to get it done. White. Latin customer. Hey, her son said, man, he's expensive. And she said, do you see everything that he does? This is what you pay for. And not to say that the cheaper company he hired won't do that. They could have been a startup company. I don't know. Could have been a startup company. I highly doubt that they were black. Let me start with that. Highly doubt that they were black, because when I first met this customer, they said, they beat our chests. We like to support our own. We like to support our own. We want to give business to the brother. As I told him yesterday, in a very professional way, because I'm black doesn't mean I'm cheap. Because I'm black doesn't mean I'm cheap. And I said, I'm quite sure you're not cheap. And I explained to him everything he had in his driveway. You got a Mercedes-Benz AMG. You have a over $175,000 camper for when you need to do shows, for when you need to travel. You have a truck that's over $90,000, Dodge Ram, dually. So I wonder, did you get those things by you being cheap? I bet you didn't do that. Anytime I have to cheapen my service to appease you, or there's a loss of business because I'm too expensive, when I'm actually not the most expensive in town. I said, I'm not the most expensive. I'm not the highest. I'm not the lowest, but I am the fairest. And you can see that in your price reduction. You can see that in your price reduction. And I told him, I said, I hope you never tell another black person that you support black businesses and then you treat them the way you treat me. No, Dr. Martin Luther King, we fought to get equal. equal treatment. And yet, here's a black person treating me less. And I told my wife, I said, you know, I had a white customer call about his pricing. And he said, I understand in the summertime, you know, and after I explained it to him, and I've had time for over 10 years. Mind you, some of these people that have all this, a portion of driveway, Range Rover, they want to nitpick on the services that's being provided to them. They want to nitpick, and that's not the way we're going to come up. You know, if this is your price, this is your price. If you need to find somebody cheaper, hey, don't nitpick and try to understand. This is my price. I'm quite sure if you need to get that Porsche detailed, you know, if you call somebody, it's $65. $65 every time they show up. And some guys, I told one guy, I said 65 is all the stuff you got to do. I said that'd be $65 a week. If you want to come wash, that's how much you should be charging. You know, your one-time detail should be $150 to $200. So, you know, that is the reason why this is one of the reasons why, and I had one lady, I'm not gonna say her name, black, and she treated me very well. You know, do it, here it is, it go to money, and that was because she operated in a white world. You know, we talked about her background, A, B, C, and D, and you know, she had it, and there you go, you got it too. You know, you need me to pay you some more money, there you go. That was the only one. And if she had an issue, she would communicate that. If she needed somebody else to do it and still kept your service, she would do that. Very professional, knew how to communicate. But all the other black people, hey, they don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to express what they need. They don't know how to express what they need. And when you don't express what they need, there's a breakdown in communication. Because if at the beginning of the service, when you hired me on, you said, well, I want somebody here A, B, C, and D, you know, I would have told you, hey, I am not for you. I am not for you. And you know what? You would not have wasted my time, because you could have left your spot open for somebody else who's, I'm passing my stop. You could have left that spot open for somebody else who's very appreciative of your time and service. Somebody that's saying, hey, I'll pay you. I'm just glad you show up. I'm just glad that you are very consistent. You know, if you'd have known how to communicate, I would have turned your service down. I would have said, I'm not the one for you if this is what you need. But to waste my time and then, you know, tell me, hey, we found somebody cheaper. Mind you, I was doing a great job. I would have preferred you to tell me, hey, you weren't doing a good job, or just saying, hey, we needed somebody here weekly, and I'd have understood. But the lead that we found somebody cheaper, and yet you're saying that you support black business, my question to you is, do you really support black business? Because if you did, you wouldn't have treated this black business the way you treated me. Peace.